Now we are going to learn about linear regression with multiple variables. Till now we were using few variables. Now we will use multiple features or multiple variables. Previously we were given size of the house and accordingly we need to predict the price of the house, and we were using this hypothesis theta 0 plus theta 1 x. So the input variable or the feature variable was only one, that is x. So we were having in hypothesis we were having only one variable, that is x. Suppose we have number of features or variables associated with the given data set. So in multiple features, suppose we have size of the house in feet square, number of bedrooms in particular house, number of floors, ages of home, and the price. So we are having how many features? 4 features or 4 input variables. So, and the notation which we are going to use in this is n denotes number of features. So what is n over here? 4. And for a particular row or for a particular training example, we were using x superscript I. Okay, so say for x superscript 1 we mean 2104 5145. okay, for a particular value in a row, here x superscript I will denote a row, and a value in a particular row will be denoted by x superscript I subscript j. This means value of feature j in ith training example. Say we are talking about x superscript 2. So x superscript 2 will be having 1 4 1 6 3 2 40. So x superscript 2 will be having this value, and if I say x superscript 2 and subscript 3, this means in this data it is the second value. Okay, oh sorry, third value. So is the notation clear to all of you? Previously we were having hypothesis like h of x equals to theta 0 plus theta 1x. Now we have number of features available with us. So the new hypothesis is going to be somewhat like this: h of x equals to theta 0 plus theta 1 x1 plus theta 2 x2 plus theta 3 and so on. And if we put values, say theta 0, first we take theta 0 as 80, theta 1 as 0.1 into our feature x1, theta 0 as 0.01, cos x2 and so on. So we are having here 4 features. So we have gone up till x4. So for h of x we have this hypothesis. For convenience notation we use x0 equals to 1, because when while solving the programming or while doing the programming we will be representing these features in terms of vectors and matrices. So we need to have a convenient notation in order to solve those programming calculations. So for capital X represents a vector which is n plus 1 dimensional. What is n plus 1 dimensional? Means n rows and 1 column. So a vector is defined as like this only. It has n rows and 1 column. That is a vector. Okay, yeah, vectors are denoted like n plus 1 only. And for theta we have theta 0 to theta n. This is also n plus 1 vector. So we have used theta 0 over here, sorry, x0 over here, though we are not having it in our hypothesis, but in order to have the size of the vector consistent or convenient to use in our programming, we have included x0 as well. We will keep this value as 1. Okay, so it is not going to affect our calculation. So just for convenience, we have used x0 and assigned the value 1 to it. So our hypothesis will become like this: theta 0 x0 plus theta 1 x1, and we have x0 equals to 1. So ultimately what we are doing is we are multiplying the elements of theta with elements of x. We are multiplying these vectors. So this hypothesis is multiplying these two vectors. So to multiply them, we will take transpose of this theta vector. Okay, why? Because to multiply we should have convenient dimension of the two vectors or matrices. Okay, so we will take transpose. Theta superscript t denotes transpose of theta. Transpose of this is equivalent to this. This is theta transpose, and we have x. So this becomes theta transpose into x. That is your h of x. Now we will see gradient descent for multiple variables. We have hypothesis h of x equals to theta transpose x, which ultimately means theta 0 x0, in which x0 was 1. We have parameters. We were denoting it by theta 0, theta 1 and so on. Now we are denoting it by a vector, say theta, which is n plus 1 dimensional vector. We were having cost function which were denoted as j of theta 0, theta 1, theta n. So now we have theta n plus 1 dimensional vector, so we will denote it like j of theta, which simply means this squared error function. Okay, and gradient descent was updating the value of theta by taking derivative of cost function. So now we will denote this cost function as j of theta, and we will update as many parameters as we have. Like suppose we have 4 parameters, so we will be having theta 0, theta 1, theta 2 and theta 3, and we will be updating all of them simultaneously. So we need to update theta for every j equals to 0 to n, we need to update value of theta. Previously what we were doing, we were having 2 parameters, theta 0 and theta 1. So we were updating theta 0 and theta 1 on the basis of this equation, and this was the derivative of j of theta. Okay, and in new algorithm where we have more features, here we are having n equals to 1, that is one feature. Now we have more than one features involved in our algorithm. So we will be updating theta j for all the values, for all the features or for all the parameters available with us. Say for theta 0 we are updating this, and we have considered x0 as 1. So if we put x0 as 1 over here, so this equation will be equals to this equation. So our theta 0 is same for both, whether we have only one feature or we have multiple features. So the theta 0 equation is going to be same for both. And for theta 1 we will be having x1 multiplied over here. Okay, so we will be having as many parameters to be updated simultaneously. Now we will study about feature scaling in gradient descent. Feature scaling. The idea behind feature scaling is we need to make sure features are on similar scale. Say we have one feature x1 equals to size of the plot, which ranges from 0 to 2000 feet square. Okay, so this is our one feature. And say we have another feature, say x2, which means number of bedrooms, and which ranges from 1 to 5. So we have two features. As you can see, the range is from 0 to 2000, which is a large value, and in this feature we have 1 to 5. So this is a smaller value as compared to x1. So we have different scale for both these. So if we plot j of theta with respect to theta 1 and theta 2, we will end up a figure like this. This is more elliptical. This is nothing, this is your theta 1 and theta 2, and accordingly j of theta is calculated on the basis of theta 1 and theta 2. So if we take, if we do not include feature scaling, that means if we directly use these values from 0 to 2000 and 1 to 5, we will be having more elliptical figures for theta 1 and theta 2. And if we try to minimize j of theta, or we need to go to global minima, then suppose we start from here, then and we started from here, so it will take more time to reach over the global minima. If it is more elliptical, then it will take more time. But if we use feature scaling, that is say for x1, what we are doing is we are dividing the size of all the example by 2000, the range, okay, and for x2 we are dividing it by 5. So we will be having the value of x1 between 0 and 1 and the value of x2 also between 0 and 1. So taking these range of values for x1 and x2, we will end up a figure like this, which is more circular, and as you can see, it will take lesser step or lesser iteration to reach to the global minimum. So this is why feature scaling is important in an algorithm. We can also take these value directly, but we will end up with a figure like this, and it will take more time. So this is the idea behind feature scaling. In feature scaling, what we are trying to do is get every feature into approximately range of -1 to 1. Okay, we will try to scale the feature between which should range from -1 to 1. Say if x0 equals to 1, or we suppose the value of x1 ranges from 0 to 3. This is not in the range between -1 and 1, but though it's convenient to use, it won't make much difference. And if we have -2 to 0.5, this is also a better one. But if we have range of variable from -100 to 100, so this is not a better choice. So more precisely, what Andrew Ng said is we can go up till -3 to 3. That's better. Though you can choose -4 to 4 or -5 to 5 as well, but this is but at this limit it will be better for us. For feature scaling, again you can use mean normalization. In mean normalization, what we are doing is, suppose say for first example, for first feature, we need to have a mean normalized value of the feature 1. So what we will do is, we will take the corresponding value. Say for the first value, size is 500. So we will take here 500 minus mean of all xi. Say we are talking about x1. So mean of all the or average of all x1 features. So size minus mean divided by the range. That means the higher value minus lower value. So we will be having a more sophisticated range of the features. Okay. So I hope this method you already know, mean normalization. So moving on, next we will study about gradient descent in practice and the learning rate. So we were updating theta in gradient descent. We will try to debug to make sure that gradient descent is working or not correctly. Now you will get the answer of your question. How to choose learning rate alpha. So we will try to debug whether we are obtaining the right value of theta j or not, or whether we will try to debug we are getting the minimum value of j theta. So this is the figure which will give us the idea about whether the cost function is reducing or not. So in this figure you can see on y-axis you have j of theta, and on x-axis you do not have theta. It's number of iterations, it's not theta. Okay, so for different iteration, for different number of iteration, we have corresponding value of j of theta. Suppose for 100 iteration we have value of j theta is this. Okay, and for a particular value of theta we will be having j theta. Okay, so moving on further iteration, at 200 we have some more values of j theta, and we will be having a corresponding value of theta. So as you can see, the convergence is going on. Value of j of theta is decreasing. Okay, so as you can see, at between 300 and 400 iteration, it is looking more flattened. It is not decreasing. So you can stop over here. You can assume that after 300 iteration the value of j theta is constant, so you can assume that this is going to be the minimum value of j theta. Okay, this is also known as there is also automatic convergence test. Suppose if you are trying to debug whether your cost function is reducing to the minimum value or not, and you end up with a graph like this in which j of theta is increasing. So then what you can do is use smaller values of alpha. Okay, or what you can do is you can increase or decrease the number of iteration. For sufficiently small alpha, j of theta should decrease on every iteration, but alpha is too small, gradient descent can be slow to converge, as we have already studied. So here's the overall summary. If alpha is too small, then what will happen? Slow convergence. If alpha is too large, j of theta may not decrease or even may not converge. So what's the idea behind choosing value of alpha? So we can choose value of alpha from 0.001 or 0.003 or 0.001. So we can choose any value among these. Now we are going to study about features and polynomial regression. Right now we have been studying linear regression. Now we will be studying about polynomial regression. Suppose we have hypothesis which is represented as theta 0 plus theta 1 into first feature, that is frontage. What is frontage? It is the front length of your house. Okay, this length of this, and plus theta 2 into depth. And this is the depth. So you are having two features. So what you can do is this is a much complex hypothesis, as you can see, because you are having three parameters and two features. So if you minimize these features into a single feature, then it would be a much simpler hypothesis. So how you are going to do is, this is nothing, frontage and depth is nothing but length and breadth. So what we will be doing is, we will be calculating area. Okay, we will be having only one feature, that is length into breadth, your area of the house. So we will be having a much simpler hypothesis, say h of x equals to theta 0 plus theta 1. Okay, so we have given this, we have reduced the feature to size. We are having this data set and we have to fit a model in this data. Okay, so suppose if we use the hypothesis theta 0 plus theta 1 x1 theta 2 x2 and so on, this is the linear model, linear regression. So if you put a linear model into this, then as you can see, the linear model won't fit better in this data set. Okay, is it clear to you that the linear model is not going to fit better in this data set? Okay, if we use a polynomial one, a quadratic one. Say if you use theta 0 plus theta 1x, theta 2 x square. This is a quadratic equation, and if we use this quadratic equation, we will be having a line, a curve like this, a parabolic curve. And as you can see, beyond a particular size over here, you can see the price is decreasing, which is not possible, because as the size of the house increases, price is obviously going to increase. So it was fitting better till here, and from here it is not fitting our data set. Okay, so we will drop this one also. We will be having another hypothesis, say theta 0 plus theta 1x plus theta 2x square, a cubic one. Okay, so how cubic one is going to fit? It will be like this. Okay, it is increasing. So as you can see, this model is fitting much more better than the quadratic and the linear one. So choices of features depends on you, whether what kind of model you are choosing, what kind of hypothesis you are choosing to fit the data set. So it may be either linear, quadratic. Okay. Now we'll talk about normal equation. As you can see, in gradient descent we were moving towards convergence, and we were calculating the minimum value of j theta. In normal equation, it is a method to solve for theta analytically. You are going to learn about it in the upcoming slides. Suppose we have equation of j theta as a theta square plus b theta plus c. Okay, so how to minimize this? Previously what we were doing was we were using square error function for linear model. Okay, so if we are using normal equation, then suppose we have cost function like this, a theta square plus b theta plus c, and we want to minimize this. So how we will be minimizing this is differentiating this equation or differentiating the cost function, and we will equate it to 0. In mathematics also, differentiation and partial differentiation, you must have learned about it. And solve it for theta. Okay, so theta can be n plus 1 vector, and this is your cost function, square error. Okay, so if we use this square error function, again what we are going to do is we will differentiate it and set it to 0 for every j. That means for every parameter we are going to set it to 0, and we will solve for theta 0, theta 1 and so on. So suppose we have, let's take an example, and we have m equals to 4. That means we have 4 rows and 4, or we can say 4 training examples. We have size, number of bedrooms, number of floors, edges of home, and our variable output variable y, that is price. Okay, so for normal equation, this is the way. This is for normal equation. We calculate theta on the basis of this equation. The derivation of this equation you can study later. So just for now, just make sure that you are familiar with this term. What is it? You will calculate theta on the basis of x transpose multiplied by x, and inverse of this multiplied by x transpose and y. And what these terms are? What is x over here? Set of all your features. And as you can see, we have added a column x0 over here. And why so? Because we are going to multiply x and y. So multiplication should be compatible. So to make the matrices multiplication compatible, we have added one column over here. So representing x in matrix, we have this matrix in which the first column is 1. Okay, this is your x0, that means theta 0 plus theta 1. So we added theta 0 into x0. What was x0? It is 1. So this is why we have added one column. Okay, and what is our y? This is a m dimensional vector. M dimensional vector, because we are having m training examples, and on the basis of this we are going to calculate the value of theta. Okay, in gradient descent we were calculating it on the basis of derivative, and here we are calculating on the basis of normal equation. So this is example given here x superscript 1, y superscript 1. This represent first row of the training example. Okay, and we have n features. So for xi we have x0 superscript I and so on. This is our n plus 1 dimensional vector, and we are having capital X, which represents all our features, which is going to be n cross n plus 1 dimensional matrix. Why m cross n plus 1 dimensional? M is your rows number of features, n is your number of features, plus 1. Why 1? Because we have added one more column to our matrix. Okay, so on the basis of this we are going to calculate this value of theta. For calculating the inverse of x transpose x, we need to calculate x transpose multiplied by x and inverse of this. So to calculate this, we need to make sure that this matrix should be invertible. If it is not invertible, then we won't be able to calculate theta. So in Octave you will be having a command pinv, okay, which will be calculating inverse of a matrix. So look here, we have x transpose cross x bracket, and we do not have a inverse sign over here. Why? Because P inverse is calculating the inverse of x transpose x cross x. Okay, this will calculate the inverse of this and will multiply it by x transpose, and then it will multiply it by y. So far we have discussed gradient descent and normal equation. Suppose we have m training example and n features. Which one is better to choose? Whether to choose gradient descent or normal equation in our algorithm. So here are some differences. In gradient descent we need to choose alpha. Okay, we need to choose alpha for our gradient descent algorithm. In normal equation we do not need to choose alpha, because we can directly calculate it by x transpose, x inverse and so on. Okay, need many iterations. Gradient descent needs many iterations to end up at global minimum. In normal equation don't need to iterate. It will be having an optimal value of theta after calculation. So far till the 2 points we have seen gradient descent and normal equation. This looks much better. Normal equation looks much better because we need not to choose alpha and we need not to iterate. Okay, so normal equation is looking better till now. Let's have a look on further difference. Gradient descent works well even when n is large. Okay, if n equals to number of features is 10 to the power 6, so gradient descent will work well even if the number of features is too large. But in normal equation, if we have n equals to 10 to the power 6, then we need to calculate these. We will be having n cross n, that means 10 to the power 6 cross 10 to the power 6 dimensional matrix, and to multiply it, you all know how much time it is going to take. So for a large value of n, gradient descent is preferred. Okay, because almost the complexity raises to n cubic. So for large value of n, we always prefer gradient descent, and for less value of n, we prefer normal equation. Okay, so it will be slow if n is very large. Okay, that's all for today's presentation. Any doubts up till now?